Now, the growing expectation of consumers for sustainable and natural fibres has seen a pivot in the strategy for Cavalier Corporation. Of course, Cavalier Bremworth, the producer of carpets here in New Zealand, to aim for all wool carpets and rugs within the next 12 months, gaining some great traction across media in New Zealand. And joining us now is CEO Paul Alston. Good evening, sir.
Sarah, how are you going?
Good. For those who have been listening and watching along to Sarah's Country, it will not be a surprise that I'm excited about this news. I'm being passionate about what we can do about our dye wool industry. Now, you've obviously been actively a part of following what's going on with the price of strong wool. Was that a consideration, or is it actually market-led, this decision?
No, this decision is nothing to do with the wool price, and it's very low at the moment, like everyone knows, and it's not sustainable at those levels. So we can handle an increase in wool price, and we actually think it's beneficial for the industry if there is one. No, this is about the main decision for us to go into a pivot to wool only is it's what we believe we do best. We think we do it better than anyone in the world. And we just don't believe synthetics is our future. We can't really compete with the big US, Chinese manufacturers because they have economies of scale. And really a synthetic carpet is only really a cut pile. There's no texture, no loop, no structure to it. So, and we believe the world's changing. There's, I think, 5% of US landfill is carpet now, and that's the plastics are leaching into the waterways, and there's a big anti-plastic movement, and there's all this, consumers are becoming more and more aware of what they're buying. I don't think everyone's made the connection yet between a carpet is made out of plastic, and we're going to push that really hard.
Great.
And you'll see some of our marketing and some of the consumer awareness work that we've done, which is quite surprising.
And I'm doing my bit, Paul, over here. I posted on Instagram the other day about a carpet layer suggesting that you wouldn't want to put synthetic in if you were had a house fire and your kids were crawling across burning river of plastic. But it comes back to that memory of that rhino on the synthetic carpet that really slammed the wearability of wool. Are we getting around that misleading message, or is that misleading, or are they correct in this? Have we come far in technology?
I think there's a lot of misleading messages, and there's a reason why all our executives at Cavalier Bremworth have a wool carpet. None of us buy synthetics because the synthetic carpet doesn't perform as well. Simple as that. We have customers that have gone to synthetics, and they'll have their carpet down for 5 or 6 years, and they'll come back and say to us, I'll go back to wool. If someone comes into us and said, I've had my carpet down for 20 odd years and I want to replace it, that's not synthetic carpet.
Yeah, and I heard some commentary around that we haven't had synthetic carpets long enough to, in terms of, the length of wool. We were talking there earlier about Amy Blakely's petition to the government, and I do know from commentary from Craig Smith with Damien O'Connor that the potential opportunity to put it throughout our government buildings, and of course the Kiwi build that we need, has come down to a price decision. Is it still that much of a margin between the two?
Yeah, it's. I think the price decision's a wrong one because you have to look at longevity over the total cost of something. So, the carpets that go into Housing New Zealand houses is really, really cheap synthetics. We don't even make carpets that cheap. So, if you want to look after the health and well-being of the people who live in the houses and have longevity of the carpets, then you've got to look at the total cost over time, not just the price of getting the carpet into an actual Housing New Zealand house.
I was just thinking about the insulation grants that the Greens are very heavy on in healthy homes. Can we jump on this bandwagon?
There's many things you can jump on. One is, you've said fire. If your house catches on fire and you've got a synthetic carpet, then it's likely to go. There's smell. You've got 6 times more chance of smelling pets on a synthetic carpet than what you have on wool. There's equivalent weight-wise, there's 22,000 equivalent weight plastic bags on a house load of carpet, and no one's buying plastic bags at supermarkets anymore. There's moisture. A wool carpet will take moisture out of the air. It's hypoallergenic. So, and stain, we believe, from the work that we've done, is about the same between both carpets. So there's a lot of myths out there that needs to be busted, and we're going to give it a good crack. And we call it wool is the forgotten fibre. And we are going to be pushing it as hard as we can, because we believe when people do see the differences and look at the benefits, then they will switch.
Has there been any pushback?
There not a lot. Most of the feedback from our announcement has been positive, but I think we're preaching to some of the converted. There's some retailers who are not so happy because we supply them synthetics. But if we really want to be authentic as a company, then we have to make a stand, and we can't be half pregnant.
And what do you make of the government jumping on board what could be simply an industry's problem with the latest strategy that's been announced?
Oh, the wool strategy, which I was part of that group. It's I think that in itself is not going to solve the problems, but at least we're thinking about it, and I believe, putting carpet in government housing is a statement the government could make, because they're looking after the health and well-being of their tenants. But I think we will not have a stronger wool price, or the price of strong wool will not grow, I don't believe, without a strong flooring sector. Strong wool flooring sector. So we all need to get behind it.
Yeah. Okay. And so considerably, I've got the farmers in my ear. I can feel them. How are we going to pass it down the value chain?
Well, if the demand grows for wool and carpet, then New Zealand, I think is it about 20% of the wool clip has gone into carpet? Then I think the whole price will lift up, because demand will lift, and you'll see some trends happening across the world. Australia, we're pushing hard to go in Australia. So I think as we take some of the demand, you'll find that the price will lift.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And we are prepared to pay a premium for the right wool too.
And that's a question that I was discussing with David Ackland around shed preparation and farmers actually caring about wool and not taking their eye off the ball in just terms of the meat game for sheep. From a quality assurance program and specifications that you require for supply, what could a strong message to strong wool farmers tonight, right now, be in terms of upping their game to reach these premiums should they come?
Well, I think the general quality of what we get is spot on. I do believe we need to align some standards, so we all have the same standards of quality, and we don't need farmers to go down to one share a year and not look after their wool, because it just becomes problematic. But I do believe we should hang in there, because I think we are at a crest of a wave. I do believe that the world is waking up to plastics and wool. They haven't quite made the connection yet with plastics. You got all these Coke bottles you're walking on the floor. It's once that connection's made with the consumer, I think you'll find that the demand will grow.
So can we expect some very provocative marketing, Paul?
Yes, we'll call it not provocative, maybe clever, but it's more about, we can either promote the virtues or discredit the competitor, I guess, and we'd rather promote the positives. But yes, we're working on that now. We're probably going to do a launch in around September, and some marketing campaigns, and I think some of the stuff that's coming out is quite thought-provoking. And so rather than provocative, maybe let's call it thought-provoking.
Sorry, I just had to put that in there because a lot of anti-wool marketing has been extremely provocative and, of course, as you've just discussed, extremely misleading as well. Thank you so much for putting up the good fight on behalf of strong wool farmers across New Zealand and passionate wool producers that we are here in this country, and let's all ride that renaissance together. Thank you so much, CEO for Cavalier Corporation, Paul Alston, with the the announcement that they will go to 100% wool carpets and rugs. It's very, very exciting, and I know that Amy Blakely, who's taking her petition to government next week, will be just as excited about this sea change.
This is Sarah's Country.